If you saw the first part of this video, basically me throwing on the prime colors and washing the crap out of them. He has now dried. So, because he's dry, I figured I'll throw on some highlights and then he'll be done. Just checking. Gotta get back over so I can see. It's gonna be stubborn. So there. Anyways, as my belly rumbles. So I use just like an old container that had probably an extreme juggernaut in it or something. So I'm going to do the highlights on the armor first, which is going to be Menoth White Highlight and Jack Bone. This is the one part I don't like about painting, and that's mixing. So I take the glob, we will call it, blah, throw it down on my mixer pad, take another glob, blah. And all I'm doing, if I can lift this up a little bit, right there is my two globs, just mix it all together. So it's a little different shade of light glob. Clean it off best I can, go back to Vlad. Now it's just an armor highlight. So I've never really figured out the best way to do this, both on camera and on the model. So I'm going to take like a coppery color, I think, and outline over here. So I think I'm just going to lighten this stuff in the center. See how this goes. Oh, that's so bright. I think I made it too white. Yep, need some more Menoth to that. More Jack Bone! So apparently, a 1-to-1 ratio was too white for my liking. So now it's more of like a 3-to-1. Which is still pretty white. That's not going to fly for this the way I want to do it. So I'm just going to use my finger, wipe some of it off. It's a little darker. So instead of doing such a massive highlight, I'm going to just do some edges. No, maybe not. I haven't decided how this is going to work. That's not too bad. No rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like, hey, this looks like it would have lighter on it. I think that kind of just tracks your eye. Practice makes perfect. I messed up the first part, so we'll go back and try to fix it afterwards. A little bit on his shoes. Just to pull the eye a little bit. I don't really have any terms for it. So if you can see here, all the recess areas got nice dark ink in it. So I'm obviously not going to hit that area, so I'm just going to lighten up some of the inside. Kind of blend it around. Kind of staying away from the edges. Looks like there's some battle damage in there, so I'll probably go back in and scratch that up a little bit. Some silver. Oof, that side's so ugly. Yeah, that's because the white hit so hard and then I tried to fix this, not going to work. I'm going to have to rewash it. So keeping that in mind, I'm actually going to finish painting this side with the highlight and then see if the wash will straighten it out for me. Wash, make it pretty again. So just a little bit. You can see that the right side is ugly. Left side looks pretty good. Mistakes were made. Just put a little dabs. Painting tip number 2 today. Don't taste the paint. So just going to... So on Party Foul's site, we just posted a lot of the new Warcasters. So there's lots of activity on Facebook now. We kind of blew it up a little bit. I did reach out to PP to see if that was okay. The stuff we posted today. They told me they'd get back to me, so I'm still waiting. Make sure we don't anger the people who make the game that we love. There we go. Just kind of highlighting his little armor on his hands. Just a little lighter. Leaving the inked recessed areas. And then I need to do his left boot. Boom. I don't really have a painting area, so if you're wondering, I'm actually painting on my table that I play on. I just turn over one of my objective markers and paint on that. So I'm going to re-wash that while that highlight dries. Maybe I get lucky on this side. That might work out okay. Highlighted it, washed it, and then re-oiled it. And when that dries, it might actually match the other side pretty good. If not, just have to hit it quickly. It'll be a little darker. Speed dry, because I don't want to have to remix this paint. I'm just going to try to do it while there's a little bit of oil still on there. It'll make it nice and dirty. Dirty. That's the way I like them. That'll dry okay. Looks like that's done. As I mentioned in the other video, I got a little bit of red there. So we're going to corn base with some Kador red base. I think I'm going to do a 50-50 on this one. And Party Foul Joss has gotten into a wee little bit of an argument with Mr. Brigani, which is kind of amusing. So follow us on Facebook if you want to keep up with our interactions with people and arguments that we get. It's pretty amusing. So I did a little glob of the, if I can move this over, you can maybe see it. No. There's my little glob of red, my glob of dark red. Mix the two together. Sometimes with the reds I'll highlight twice. I'll do the base highlight and then I'll actually hit it with the Kador on its own to really make it pop. Depends on how light I want it. I don't know how light this will go. So this is a knee pad. Just going to kind of split it down the middle a little bit. And kind of give it like a T. Just enough that it, again, just pulls the eye a little bit. Everybody's got their own techniques. I like this because it's easy and I'm lazy. So there's the other one. It's like as if it's a little more weather worn there. Now this part is going to be a little trickier. I do like it. A little more light. So I'm going to try to get just a hair, keep it nice and straight, and try to pick out some of the muscle defined areas on this armor. Just a little hit on the outside. The wash did a good job. Hit it a little bit. It'll probably need another layer of like the super highlight just to make it pull a little more. His other arm is not as detailed as you're just looking at my thumb. So I just basically hit it in here a little bit. It needs an actual highlight. That's it, just a tiny bit of red, so it doesn't need much. Going back to the Kador red. Nope, yeah, the Kador red, which is going to be a lot brighter, so I gotta be careful with this. Good thing is if I mess it up, I can just wash it and that'll darken it up again. If I'm not mixing, obviously I will paint right out of the pot because I'm lazy. So now that I've already highlighted this area once, I just like to go a little bit on it. Just gobbed it in my mix. Try to get it a little tighter than the original one. So it pulls a little more detail. Here comes a tough one. It's more like a muscle effect. This is the one with a little more detail. I don't want it to be too big a gob. I like the separate lines. That's a little bit more for me than anybody else. Nobody else is going to notice it. But then I'm happy with it. It looks good. I'm happy with it. That's all that matters. So I want to do some glowy effect on the sword. So the best way to do that, I think, and the easiest way to do that, and just take some white, which is the basic Citadel white, and I just want the inside of the sword to glow. I'm going to be really careful about where it goes. Just kind of slop in some white. Turn off my light, maybe it'll make it a little easier. And I do the other side because it's like a lightsaber, it glows on both sides. I gotta wait for that to dry. So it looks like crap right now because it's just white on silver. That's the base for our glow effect. That's all that needs. That's what he's at now. Almost done. So what do I got left? I got a flesh. I gotta paint his face, which I hate. I hate faces. After his face is done, I'll do the wash on the sword. Then hopefully his face is dry, and wash his face, and then highlight his hair a little bit. I think he needs highlights. I think he's vain because he's a prince. Oh, I haven't done the cape yet, so we still got the cape to do. So I thought this would be done in about 4 minutes. I probably got about 7 minutes left. You should be done. I'm not in the chat group right now. My computer's thinking too hard, so I don't know what it's doing. Too much paint to do his face, so I just use this to get rid of it. And I hate painting faces. Alright, gotta blast you, I need some light. So I'm gonna gob his eyes. Blah. Try to fix his highlights. Thankfully I was messy with his hair, so I can paint over that. And if I don't, it just looks like hair in the way. That's what the best is going to do. Wash will hide some of the imperfections. Sorry, I'm looking at it, trying to show you, but I'm looking at it myself. Face is done. I'm gonna have to highlight his cape. I still have some wet paint here, which was the Menoth white mix that I did. I'm lazy and cheap, so I'm not going to let it go to waste. Instead of mixing white with my gray, I'm going to mix it into that. I'll take a glob of gray, start on the outside, swirl it around until it lightens up. Make sure it's as light as I like. Mix in some more gray. That works. I'm going to use a thick brush, I think, this time. Because it's got some big face, big area here. So just some easy highlights. Anywhere there's some like raised surface, I'm kind of just hitting with the big brush. And then I'll go to the smaller brush on the side. Make it light at the bottom and then kind of dry brush it up so it fades out a little bit. And then inside the cape, you see the wrinkly parts. I'm good with English. Said none of my English teachers. I'm just going to pick out some of the lines. And then kind of connect it to that other part that I faded out a little bit. Just a little bit. And then his pants. Looks like he has MC Hammer pants. Can't really see too much detail here, so I just have to slap it on. Nobody's going to really be looking in here. My Mausers meant to look okay from across the battlefield. When you pick them up, you're supposed to see all the imperfections, because Tabletop, not award-winning. Done. Oh, a little bit of silver here because he got scratched up a little bit. Touch that up. It's just subtle. You do a little bit of highlights. So I also have his cobblestones to do, and there's just enough of this Menoth gray mix to just take the brush and scrape it over the cobblestones. And you can see the recesses. Don't need to really do the back of it because you can't see it anyways. Cape blocks that side. His face needs a wash. This time I'm using PP stuff. It's simply called Flush Wash. One thing that sucks about this is you have to drop it out. Can't just dip my brush in. So unless I'm doing a ton of models, I always have some wasted. This is going to take very much. I'm going to blob his face in there, which will help pull the details in his face, recesses in his eyes. Just got paint on my camera. So his face is washed. Maybe the camera will focus on it in a second. Whoosh. There we go. Kind of see his face looks a little dirtier now. I am not going to paint any details on his eyes and stuff. That is beyond my skill level. So I don't attempt that. So if you can see his blade just basically got some white thrown on it. And I've been using Arcane Blue. Oh, I have to go to this side. Maybe. Arcane Blue. The best way to do it is, anything else I can do it on? I don't throw anything out. So like I use, this is like a palette for me. I don't need a lot, so this is basically going to be like a drop of blue here. Oops, can't see it, because I did it on the high part. Whatever. Try again. Potentially I did this so you could see it. Jonathan, you should be watching this. I put a little daub of my Arcane Blue there. I should get clean water to do this, but I won't because I'm lazy. I mix in some of my wash. This is just water that I was cleaning my brush in. So now it's like super runny, you can tell here. That's all we want. Cover my brush in it. And then you can see the white. I just go blob it on. And basically it'll give it a kind of glowy effect. Flip over to the other side. Same thing. Blob it on. And just wipe it down with my finger. Get it off the metal a little bit, so it's only on the white stuff. There we go. And then the white underneath it will kind of push through, give it that little magic effect, glowy effect. Make it look like a magical weapon, damn it. Oh, and I said I wanted to give his hair highlights, because I think he needs highlights in the front. And then Vlad will be done. So, glob of his base color, which was Rhinox hide. I don't want to go too bright on this, so I'm going to go back to my bone jack. I have a tiny bit of paint here, but I'll mix it together. You can see it just be a little lighter. And let's give him some highlights. Oh, I can't see doing this. Can't really tell. It's not really coming across as a highlight. Just lightening his hair a little bit. My Vlad's a little vain. Not enough. So, thought it was a good idea. Let's try it again. Mix in a little more paint. Definitely made it lighter that time. Did I make it too light? Kind of made it look like he had roots. So he's got sunned hair. It's lighter on the top, darker in around the edges. I would like to hit his mustache once. Oh, this is gonna suck. it looks like I hit his mustache with the flesh. So I'm going to try to hit it once with this highlight under his nose to darken up that area. Hey, success! Pulls the mustache out a little bit. There we go. There we go. Drop the light. You can see the little bit of a glowy effect on the sword. That was cheap and easy. I didn't end up highlighting his armor in the front here. It kind of, the way the wash went in there, kind of did it all for me, so I don't have to do that. You can see I messed up this side over here, but I washed it again and then quickly hit it with a highlight, blended it all back in together. This side came out fine. It does have battle damage in there, but the way the wash hit it looks good enough. I did the highlight red on his knees. I hit it twice. I mixed it once and then I hit it once with the highlight again. You can see his cape. Basically, I'm only going to look at that because Vlad's never going to give the back to his enemy. The only other thing I might want to change is this part here. Oh, I haven't done his flesh on his hands. Kind of looks like he's got armor. He doesn't need it. This is where it comes into play, is where I'm lazy. And I said I get lazy. So you can see his arm. I thought it was going to be flesh on his fingers, but it looks like armor plates. So he's wearing armored gloves. Where on this hand here, I was totally intending to pin. I guess this hand does look like it needs to be flesh. But this one, he's got armor. So, back to the flesh. I'm lazy, but when I notice something's wrong, I'm going to fix it. It's got armor on part of it. Sorry I'm not in the chat room, guys. I don't know if you're talking to me or not. Because I was for the first video. So look us up. We got a Moose Machine network together now. Just do a search for Moose Machine network and you'll see we have a ton of guys now broadcasting on it. There's his hand all done. It's not dry yet, but I'm lazy. So guess what I'm going to do right away? Wash! I feel like that'll cover up any mistakes I made. So again, here's the wash, how you have to do it. It's got to drop out. It's way more than I'm going to need, because it's just this tiny piece right here. Just basically want the recesses to show up like that. I still have to go back and see how when it dries, it'll do the highlight for me, so it does need to be highlighted. Alright. So Vlad is essentially done. For my basing, I use my primary red, which is the corn base red. I look at his shoulders. I don't have one of those fancy widgets, which I should get. If somebody wants to send me a widget so I can do my basings, my arcs, that'd be awesome. And then somewhere around here I have a base black. I like doing the red on the front because it kind of just blends all the army together. Some people do it on the back. Some people are really ambitious and they do it in quarters. I think they're crazy. Gotta make it quiet when I'm concentrating. Trying not to get black everywhere. And done. There you go. Vlad from base to finish. I feel like he needs a showcase like spinning somewhere. So he's like, yay, look at me. But that's how fast I can paint a model. I mean, it's not awesome. It's tabletop. I mean, what else am I looking for? I'm not going to win an award. Focus! Damn it. Focus on the sword. Sword's all done drying and it's got the glowy effect I wanted. The armor turned out pretty much the way I wanted. His face is as good to be expected because I don't paint faces. So there you go, P. Vlad. From primed to based, arced, everything ready to go.